Hello everybody, we are back today and we're going to be talking about 5 things I've noticed in the first bit of hockey that we've got this year. So before we start, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up and make sure to join the Hockey Brigade by subscribing. Now let's get on into it. So the first thing I've noticed that we obviously have to talk about is the Buffalo Sabres hot start. I know it's only 2 games, but they are 2-0. They have a lot more wins than I think people expected them to have at this point. It is only 2 games again, but what I will say is, considering all this stuff we talked about, the drama, the Eichel stuff going into this season, the fact that they are undefeated at the moment is pretty incredible. Now, I know that people are going to say, well, it was against Montreal and it was against Arizona, so it's not that big of a deal because, Montreal doesn't have Carey Price at the moment and the Coyotes are, a rebuilding team. But I have to say, they played in front of a pretty rough opening night crowd. They got the win. Obviously, they've played Arizona here, and they were down 1-0. They came back 2-1, and they made a game of it. Will they be in the playoffs? No, they won't. But the fact that they're even giving their fans something to smile about, even though it's early, is still incredible to me. Now, 2 other things that I really wanted to focus on here, and they're kind of tied together, is Montreal's and Chicago's slow starts to the year. Chicago has made a bunch of moves. They obviously brought in Seth Jones through a trade, and they brought in Marc-Andre Fleury. They are spending quite a lot of bit of money, and right now they don't even have a win through 3 games. It does say, or seem like, oh, it's only 3 games, but again, in an 82-game season, if you miss by a point, are you really going to say, oh, it was only 1 game? No, you have to take every game serious. You have to focus on that. And that is something that we're going to have to see going forward. Will Chicago be able to gel in time to make it to the playoffs, especially with this division being as tough as it is? They are on pace for something like 20-some points this year because of their start. Will they break that? Yeah, they'll get way over 20-some points. I'll say that guaranteed. But you hate to see this slow start for them considering all the money they're putting into it. Now, on the flip side, you have Montreal. They have 3 regulation losses, or in general, they actually just have 3 losses, no overtime losses or anything like that. So, for a team that went to the Stanley Cup Finals last year, they upset some teams along the way. You have to think Toronto, Winnipeg, Vegas was the biggest one. They are off to a slow start. And again, people are going to say, well, it's because they don't have Carey Price at the moment, which there's a lot of stuff going on there, but I don't know all that, so I'm not going to say about too much there. But what I will say is this. I've had people, not necessarily on here, but on Instagram, say, no, they're a contender. You got to listen to me. A contender would find a way to win without their starting goalie. And I'm not going to say that everything's falling apart just yet for Montreal, but for a team that really is, behind the likes of Toronto, Tampa Bay, Boston, Florida, they're going to have to start winning games soon in order to make this push here. What I'll say out of the 2 teams so far that really I've noticed is for Chicago, I think there's a little bit more of an emphasis on it because you have quite a few older players on your roster, and Fleury is a free agent after this year. Maybe he'll retire, maybe he won't. So we'll have to see. But yeah, I feel like for Chicago, it is much more important to win now. Now, the 2 last things that we'll be talking about today are actually tied together. One is that the Buffalo Sabres, from what we know, want Jack Eichel's contract completely off the books. What they're saying is this. We are willing to take on deals. We will take on contracts from other players, but you have to find a way to take all of Jack Eichel's contract. At least that's what they made it out to be. That's something we'll have to keep an eye out for because the next part of this is the really interesting part. That is, Vegas and Colorado are the 2 teams that have really been trying to kick the tire about this, see what they can or couldn't work out. And Colorado seems to be one of those teams that if they could find a way to move cap, they would love to. I think they're out of the running now just because this team, the Buffalo Sabres, that is, aren't going to be taking on any deals. Like we said for Eichel, or you're going to have to take on his full contract. You could move some contracts, but really, what players could you move out that have the pay grade of Eichel, which is something we're going to have to see. But could you imagine him in Colorado? Holy cow, it wouldn't even be fair. And then Vegas, we've known for a while that they want to get him, but it seems like they have some prospects they don't want to give up. For me, I think it's crazy. You have a team that is competing for a Stanley Cup, give up the prospects for Eichel. Eichel's still going to be a great player years from now, but we'll have to see how that goes. Those are the 5 things that I wanted to talk about so far to start off the season. Let me know some interesting things you've noticed to start off the year down below. Also, please make sure to like and subscribe. Everybody stay safe. Have a great night. You go love hockey, alright? Goodbye, Brigadiers and Brigadettes. This is your captain signing off. Have a great night.